Hello and welcome back to All About Community. Again, my name is Robert L. Harris and my guest is Guy Bryant. He's an attorney in the Bay Area here and he practices education law. Guy, when we went to break, we were talking about children and some of the impacts that the laws of this state may have upon them. What are some of the major areas of the education code here in California that impact our children?
Well, gosh, the education code is thick like the IRS tax code. So there's just so many provisions. When you represent school districts, community college districts, and colleges, it's like representing a small city because they have board governance, they have CEO, administrator, whether it's a superintendent or a chancellor. They may have their own school police force. They may have all kinds.
Well, we used to have the school police force here in Oakland, but I believe we no longer have that, unfortunately.
Right. I agree with you as far as an unfortunate thing because safety is a paramount part of what we do. The Education Code requires, under Education Code Section 200, a free and appropriate public education. It's called FAPE. It often comes up in special education when you're dealing with students with special needs, but it's for all students. All students have to have a safe and appropriate education, and that's the challenge.
And how would you define a safe environment?
Well, there's a lot to that. I would say that it's more than just physical safety. It's emotional safety. It's psychological safety. It's actually getting a proper education. When you actually attend. So, I mean, the courts have looked at this issue. When I've argued before the California Supreme Court in one. Just got a recent case from the Ninth Circuit the other month, wherein the issue was, did the school district have jurisdiction to discipline students for off-campus behavior?
And what was the ruling?
And the ruling was that, yes, if this substantial impact is on the campus, then absolutely the district has the authority to discipline that behavior, to create a safe environment. In that situation, the students had created a private social network on Instagram. It had images of black students being hung with a noose and all kinds of things. And this information ultimately got leaked out back to the campus, and it caused major disruption. Some students withdrew from school. It just was really a bad situation. And unfortunately, the parents of the students that were being disciplined felt like, well, this didn't happen on campus. There shouldn't be any jurisdiction and nothing should happen to our students. And thankfully, the Ninth Circuit disagreed and agreed with us that absolutely, in order to provide a safe environment, those students, the district needed to have the ability to reprimand those students for that behavior.
Now, let's talk just for a moment about teachers' involvement with students. I recently saw on television the image of a substitute teacher, I won't say where it was, but it was in the Bay Area, who was just beating on a student. Now, how is that dealt with in the education?
Well, there's, luckily education is very regulated and there are requirements. There's obviously there's full code sections. 44939 of the Ed Code deals with teacher discipline and disciplinary actions. And then we're very fortunate that California allows up to 2 years to actually look at a teacher to see if they have the right temperament. I mean, they could come to work every day on time. They could do all the things on paper that would mean they're a good teacher. But there's some, things that they believe that administrators and others should have this opportunity to say, that's why they call them probationary teachers, an opportunity to say they do all the right things except there's something not quite how they interact well with students for different reasons. And so that is in the Ed Code where, up to 2 years, school districts can say, thank you for your service. We don't know anything specifically that is problematic with you, but we're just not, we're concerned for the safety of children, and for other reasons, we don't think that you should be.
So it's like a two-year probationary period.
Right, and then after that, they become permanent.
Yeah, so they can assess the teacher.
Exactly.
And then after that, it becomes permanent.
Right.
Now, let's talk for a moment about, let's talk for more than a moment about your new position with the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, the NAACP, my favorite group.
Tell us about. First off, I have to say I'm deeply honored that I'm following behind you as the new general counsel for the Oakland chapter of the NAACP. You've been an amazing stalwart.
Oh, you don't have to say all that, but that's okay. I love to hear it anyway. I'm joking.
But I'm excited to take on that role. There's a lot of energy in the Oakland chapter of the NAACP, as I was talking earlier about advocacy, and there's a lot of opportunity. And I think the community is really recognizing that it's time to use their voice more and more and more to advocate for fair share. And I think people need to understand that historically this country, that came through, the Manifest Destiny and moving across the nation and the purchase of Louisiana, purchase of land, and ultimately acquiring California from Mexico. This country has a long history of, Black Americans being the primary minority group up until the 1965. There really wasn't an immigration policy that brought in other groups here. And while we believe in diversity, equity, and inclusion, unfortunately, the 40 acres and a mule never came.
40 acres and a mule. I love that. 40 acres and a mule. I want my 40 acres, but I want my 40 acres in Manhattan, downtown. Unfortunately, we have to go to break, so don't touch that remote. We will be right back with Guy Bryant. And again, this is all about community.